it's really compelling. Some large firms will choose to write their own software to make that happen. Some will choose to outsource it. So I think that's really compelling position in the marketplace. I can see why a firm like yours would be working with them. It's a big idea.
So it sounds from what you're saying, it sounds like they still have a lot of potential for improvement in what they are doing already, like aka the platform and software.
Right.
So they might not want to allocate resources to develop their distribution business.
Right. Well, I mean, for one thing.
So I'm wondering. You
should know one of the most important things a distributor can do is provide credit. Mm-hmm. The ability to pay them in 30 days. That requires massive amounts of capital. I don't know how far along ConnectWise is in their funding strategy, but no venture capitalist wants to get involved in that kind of balance sheet exercise.
Yeah, but there may be a road that they can collaborate with Bank of America or something, like some big banks, if they have enough user bases.
But still, BofA is going to want to have a big slug of equity set aside to fund that working capital. It's not, and that money is just really expensive. I mean, that's money you spend hiring programmers to build out a platform that attracts everybody. Then you can leverage your balance sheet and do other things, that are more traditional, but they're inevitably so much smaller reward in terms of margin that anyway, I feel like I'm fighting City Hall here. I mean, it seems they seem to want to be a traditional distributor, and I want to see them be a better software firm, and I'm sure the end result will be somewhere in the middle. But anyway, so we'll never resolve that in this call, and I don't want to force my views too forcefully. I don't want to offer my views too forcefully along those lines.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to have you as a thought partner. But I'm just wondering, like, based on your experience, how likely this kind of scenario would happen. Like, they enter the distribution business, even though it's kind of going down the margin and large investment, they might not have resources to do that right now. Like, how likely, like, eventually they want to do it?
Well, again, I think to be successful, they have to essentially cover every OEM, every OEM vendor, as I'll call them, because even a Tech Data, won't cover every server manufacturer. That's the reason why an SHI will have relationships with multiple distribution partners, and so if their ambition, if they feel, it seems as if for this business model to work, they have to have almost complete coverage of every product out there, and I don't know, man's got to know his limitations, I suppose, and if that's the case, can they ever really reach that kind of coverage? So you mentioned Cisco. What happens when the customer wants HP or some other related brand? That's because to become a distributor, as I said before, I mean, you have to be able to provide credit. You've got to have physical distribution locations. You've got to staff a sort of first-level technical support or pre-sales capability. Those are expensive and hard to find people. You have to be able to get the stuff from one place to another on time. No small feat. And there are other sort of related marketing activities that go with that. So. Again, I mean, if in that case, we're talking about something very different than just writing great software that makes resellers want to use their software product to manage a really messy business.
So if you have to rate the likelihood of this happening, it was rated slow because there are so many barriers, and it's just hard business, hard cookie to crack, and it doesn't seem like attractive.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is there's a reason why, there's these big elephants, still in the room, even as technology marches forward. They're, or put another way, I thought Blockbuster was going to go bankrupt in 1989. It took another 20 years for that to happen. So it's not as if there's this massive shortcoming that's going to take down, the big distributors tomorrow. It's not, 3%, maybe 5% gross margin, is about as good as it gets, in the large distribution industry. So enter at your peril. I think if anything, I think if you really press your client, or maybe they're not a client, maybe you're just analyzing them for someone else, but if you're really pressed, I bet the OEM vendors are saying, if you want to be in this game, we're going to force you to hold inventory, or maybe distribution partners don't want to play ball, and they're sort of having to get into the distribution business because they don't, because they need the distribution partners, but they don't want to participate. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Like I say, the word disruption becomes very threatening, and there's a lot, $1 trillion of technology products that somehow flows every year just fine,
I guess I'd rather call it kind of gradual decline of the traditional business instead of like disruption. Disruption sounds like abrupt, right?
Right.
But the margin is going thinner because of all these players, and also I think another question that ties to another question, right? Because ConnectWise allows the resellers to compare the pricing of the same product from different distributors. And my assumption is that the resellers are quite price sensitive, especially if they are buying large volume of things. So this might shrink to commoditize the IT distribution industry furthermore, and shrink the margin furthermore. Do you agree with that statement, or based on your observation, like how price sensitive are the VARs, and also how you pick one distributor over the other? Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think the margins already are so thin. So it's what I found is that it's once you're at that point, it's more than just a price game. It's more certainty of delivery and the like. And so what's the expression? You can be penny wise, pound foolish, I suppose, as a general rule. We to move, $8 to $10 billion of goods, a year, with Fortune 500 companies, you're going to have already decided, and maybe revisit the decision every 3 years or so, which distributors you're going to use for which products. You're not going to switch. You're not going to price shop, an order of 10,000 Lenovo's, at the last minute. Because distributors want to do the right thing. They've got a partnership. They've made assurances, that you're going to get a great deal. You're going to get the full discount. And we all know what's possible out there, because we also talk to the OEMs directly. And so it's more, do we want to, try to switch a customer who just wants to renew an order for, say, Lenovo, and try to get them to go to Dell, so that we could maybe pick up 2 points of margin because Dell would like that share shift opportunity. I mean, that's more the way it works.
I mean, like, is there a scenario, like, for example, Verizon wants you to order 10,000 Dell laptops, and Dell laptops is available, like, say, from Ingram Micro or from Tech Data, and you've been having partnerships with Tech Data for a long time, but you just found out through ConnectWise that Ingram Micro has a better offering and better discounts. and you just switch to that distributor instead of doing business with tech data. Is there a scenario like that, or am I oversimplifying this?